Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm delighted to be here today with my ranking video for the year 1979, which concludes my ranking the 1970s series, and what a journey it's been. So we will get on with it. Just a few things to mention for anybody who's new to the channel. So I will be showing 15 albums which were released in 1979. In my own collection here, I had more than 50 to pick from that were released in that year, such as my love for 1979 and the music that was being created all over the world. So I have embarked upon quite a journey here to choose 15 from the 50 odd that I've got and then rank them from 15 up to 1. So I will show the record off that I've picked, mention a few favourite tracks, any little bits of information. While I'm here talking on camera, I'll mention that too, endeavour to get it correct, of course, accurately and factually, and then move on to the next one. So if you haven't seen any of my previous videos in the series, then I will pop links to those videos in the description box to this one that you're watching right now. And please do let me know what you think in the comments when we're done. Let me know what you think of what I chose, what should have been in there, what shouldn't have been in there, what order they should have been in. What would you have? Share your favourites with me, because I love reading about them. I love discovering new albums, and I love to, I suppose, develop a newfound appreciation for, old favourites as well. So another thing, for anyone again who may be new to me, so the way that it works is that I only show records off that I happen to own in my own vinyl collection. So that's the only rule, if you will, for eligibility, is that I need to own it. So I'm, perfectly aware that there may be albums which are personal favourites that either I've not included because I don't own it, I might have never have heard of it, or it might be that I do own it and I just personally didn't think it was, up there with my own top 15. So this is all subjective, but usually people will ask me in the comments and say, if there was a particular reason why I didn't put something in, and I'll always be perfectly honest about that and explain whether it's a new title to me or whether I just simply don't own it. I had thousands of CDs once upon a time, and I had loads of albums from many different decades and genres and things, but they're all gone, and I don't have anywhere near as many records as I did CDs, but it's a healthy sized collection. I've been collecting for 30 years, so it's probably bigger than most people's collections, but then, arguably, quite truthfully, I would imagine not as big as other people's. So it's all subjective, it's all relative, but what I've got here, I'm happy to be showing. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was hard enough whittling them down from 50 odd to 15, but I've done it. I think I'm happy with the order, but we'll just get into it. So just a little bit of information there for people that might be new to the channel. And if you enjoy what I've done today, then please do consider popping a like on the video. That really does help. And maybe you would consider subscribing as well, but I'll revisit all that stuff when we get to the end. So sit back and enjoy. I hope that none of these picks are too controversial. I'm sure for people that have been following me now for quite some time, some of them might even be pretty predictable, but I can only apologise in advance if I have become predictable in that way. But I like what I like, and we've all got that chance to express ourselves. So here's me doing it now for 1979. What a year. Let's time shake it down. Let's see how we go. Okay, so starting us at number 15 today, I've got a brilliant double album. I suppose you could put it in the sort of soft rock canon, really, pop, a US-UK hybrid in terms of band members. Brilliant album, as all these are. I'll be repeating that over and over again as I do in every video I do. These are all brilliant albums, but something had to be at the bottom of the pile, and in this case, it is the mighty Tusk by Fleetwood Mac, coming in at number 15. That very distinctive album cover there, with that rather friendly looking dog. What we can see there, having a bit of a nibble there. I don't know the background or anything behind that photograph. If anybody wishes to enlighten me on that, and the community, I'd be most grateful. So this was produced by Fleetwood Mac. It's got in brackets there, special thanks to Lindsey Buckingham, who of course is a pivotal member of the group, as they all were, with Richard Dashelt and Ken Caleb getting a shout out there as well on the production credits. And yeah, this album for me is Fleetwood Mac at their artistic peak. So, they'd already released The Monster that was Rumours, their self-titled record from 75, which was the first album that Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham appeared on as members of Fleetwood Mac. Both totally superb records as well. Thoroughly recommend them. But for me, Tusk is where I felt that this particular lineup of the band really started to spread their wings creatively and artistically. And I feel that they just made some really bold decisions on this record. As I said, Rumours come out in 77, and it just had such a this glossy sheen, really perfect soft rock pop songs. But on Tusk, I feel like the envelope was there to be pushed. And I think I'm right in stating this, but I think it might have been Lindsey Buckingham who was pushing for that envelope to be pushed. I think he was the one that really wanted to try and make a statement on a really, really deep level, and something for him. Maybe that this is perhaps his most personal project, perhaps, just because I think he understood and saw, what the band had become in terms of their worldwide appeal. And I think the task which awaited the band was to sustain that popularity, but also keep, evolving as a group musically, artistically, where they were trying to go. And I do think that Tusk is a wonderful achievement. So favourite tracks over and over, I do love Which kicks off the album. Again, people who know me by now know that I love a good track one, side one. I usually tend to love closing tracks as well. Sarah is one of my absolute favourites on here. Great song. And the playing throughout by all the members. You've got the McVies, Christine and John, Mick Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham. Superb as always. Sisters of the Moon on side 2 is lovely as well. We've got Brown Eyes on side 3. Tusk, of course, the title track is an absolute stomper. Great song. Love the production values of it, love the instrumentation, love the way that it literally marches along. It sounds just big and grand and powerful and strong, even after all these years. And yeah, it's got a really interesting, a good closing track on here in Never Forget as well. But yeah, a real journey, that record. A very, very inspiring album for me. Lindsey Buckingham is one of my all-time favourite guitar players. I've mentioned that a number of times now on the channel. Somebody whose playing I just find to be astonishingly creative, dexterous, inspirational, just a level that is really something else. So I'm just going to pop these away. Managed to show you the inners there. So that's something I'll always do as well, is show the inners off or any gatefolds on the records when I hold them up. But I think we're starting off very strongly there for 1979 with Tusk. And again, with these album rankings, I would completely get it if people have these higher on their own listings, just because of the quality control being so high. And again, it all comes down to personal opinion, a personal relationship with the album, with the music that you're hearing. But that is a stunner. Highly recommend it. And if I was just to name one track just to listen, well, I'll go for two. Please listen to Tusk if you're not aware of it. The title track, it is brilliant. And also listen to Sarah as well, which is just a really lovely soft rock masterpiece in my opinion. Just a great performance on there by the band. Okay, right then, so number 14. And I won't say the numbers all the way through. I do know there's 15 here. I've counted them a number of times to make sure that everything was present and correct for my final video of the decade. So number 14, now we're moving over to Athens, Georgia. Debut album by a very quirky, very interesting band indeed. Love them to bits. Loved them from being a kid. Love their whole aesthetic in terms of their, choice of costume, hairstyles, Just a very sort of kitsch approach, sci-fi obsessed, B-movie sort of a feel to them. Like a melding of well, I've already said sci-fi, but like surf elements and 60s pop and all kinds going into the mix. New wave as well, bit of punk in there. But yeah, just a great album. Puts a smile on my face. So it had to be in here, even with its bright yellow, very distinctive album sleeve. We've got the B-52s by the B-52s, of course. So yeah, this is just a really fun party record for me. It's one that I do put on when I just want to be or feel like I'm in a good mood. Released on Island Records, and yeah, what can I say about it? It's it's just a whole lot of fun. I mean, it sounds as good as the cover looks for me. It is a little bit sort of, I suppose, garish. It's a bit in your face. It's unapologetic, but it also really makes a statement. I mean, this is a debut album, so the songwriting quality on here is brilliant. We've got a lovely cover of Downtown, which was obviously made very famous by Petula Clark, closing the album off. But it starts so strongly. I mean, side one is just new wave greatness. We've got Planet Claire, which brings you into the world of the B-52s very effectively. Again, with that sort of, blippy beepy sci-fi kind of feel to it. You feel like you might be tuning into some extraterrestrial episode of Star Trek or something. It's just a really great feel to it, Planet Claire. But then it gets stronger and stronger throughout 52 Girls, and then Dance This Mess Around is wonderful. And then we get a riff to a riff to go down in the annals of rock music history with Rock Lobster. What a riff. Surf rock perfection. Do 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 do. Again, you'll get it in your head. You won't get it out your head all day if you put that one on. Love it to bits. Great guitar work there by Ricky Wilson. It's just a wonderful, wonderful song, that one. Everybody sounds like they're having a great time on it, as they do throughout. I also really like Hero Worship on side 2 as well. So you've got these wonderful harmonies here being provided by Cindy Wilson, Kate Pearson. Just great, sort of girl group type harmonies going all the way through. But everybody shines on it. I mean, Fred Schneider as well, very, very distinctive vocal style, like the sing speaky sort of rap type thing that he does. It's just a great album, this one. So a lot of fun. I'm delighted to have it in here for 1979. It was always going to make my top 15, even when I had, at the beginning over 50 to pick from. It was just a case of where it was going to go. So it landed at number 14. Crash landed from space at number 14. So B-52s. So a quick sip of water and then we'll carry on with the rest of them. Okay. Right, so coming up next, we have got, I believe it was the 4th album by this band coming out of the UK. And for me, this is one of my favourite 4 album runs in music. The progression of this band was just off the scale. Again, only my opinion, but the evolution in such a short space of time. I mean, they actually released 2 albums in the same year, with one of them being their debut. Then they had another absolute corker in 1978, the 3rd album, and then they had this beauty here as well. So this one for me, again, provides more experimentation in terms of sound, composition, lyrical themes, etc. Definitely more of a maturity going on in that way, on many different levels. So I'm really pleased to be showing now as my next pick, The Raven by the Stranglers. And what an absolutely beautiful front cover that is. You can get this copy, or this album, in a holographic form as well, where you can do that, and the Raven's all vivid and colourful and moving around as holograms tend to work when they're done well. I would love to get a copy of the album with that artwork, that run of it. But sadly, I've never come across one, not even out in the wild. I know I could track one down, online, but the fun in being a vinyl collector is when you can go out there and just find these things and just stumble across them. So, I mean, it still looks beautiful and vivid just in that form there as well. So yeah, the Raven there, Edgar Allan Poe reference there. and you got a great photograph there of the band on a Viking longship there. There we go. So got Hugh, Dave, JJ, and Jet. There we go. So I think this one, yeah, it's just got a plain. My copy's just got a plain inner on it, and it was released on the Fame. It was the Fame run. So I think this is probably like a budget price version of it as well. So yeah, I mean, where to go with this one? I mean, it starts with Longships, which is obviously in keeping with this sort of quite a Scandinavian sort of Viking feel to the album. I mean, even just the idea of the Raven there as well. It just speaks of, voyages on the sea, and I get all kinds of images when I look at this. Vision, sort of think about Valhalla and Norse mythology and things like that as well. So Longships is a great opener. Then we get the title track, The Raven. But two tracks I absolutely love on side one are Ice and Nuclear Device. Superb. Great playing by all the band. I mean, JJ Burnell's bass playing, his sound is one of my favourite bass sounds in all of music history, to be honest. It's so deep, it's just powerful, resonant, and there is some great bass players who are going to be appearing throughout this top 15. But JJ for me is really up there. So Ice and Nuclear Device in particular on side one are brilliant songs, but there's not a bad one on the album. Side two, Don't Bring Harry, is a really interesting piece. It's got like this kind of really smoky, ominous, dark vibe to it, which I think mixes up the essence of the album really well in terms of its positioning. And then it's actually followed by a really beautiful pop song called Duchess, which I actually think is one of the Stranglers' best ever songs. Great song, Duchess, just a great composition. Hugh Cornwell sounds brilliant on it. Really great song, that one. That would be one that I would recommend people go and listen to. I wouldn't say it's representative of the album as a whole, Duchess. It sort of stands alone in its own world, but I think it's just a good example of the different types of song that you can expect to hear on this album. And then Men in Black as well, which was one of the, a nickname for the Stranglers. And then Genetics as well to close is a great song. So The Raven by the Stranglers, brilliant album. To have that as your fourth in your career and to have done it within 2 years of being around is just quite extraordinary in my opinion. So huge credit to the Stranglers, and that is a really truly brilliant album. One that I do come back to a lot and I get a lot of enjoyment from it. Okay, so coming up next we have another band, again from the UK, whose evolution was startling in a very short space of time. So with the Stranglers there, it was 4 albums there within a couple of years. And then with this group here, they produced 3 albums between 1977 to 79, which are astonishingly good. So good. Again, the leaps were just gigantic in terms of where they started, and they started out unbelievably strong, as did the Stranglers, very clear in their direction and what they wanted to achieve, but then just being able to keep moving forward, the momentum, the acceleration of growth, really quite something. So coming up next here, we have got, I refer to it as 154 by Wire. So Wire at this stage had released the unbelievably brilliant Pink Flag in 1977, and then they'd also brought out Chairs Missing in 78, which I think is one of the best sophomore albums in history. Startling record, but this one is wonderful. This is my least favourite of the 3, but it is of those 3 Wire albums, but it is still utterly essential. So yes, I refer to it as 154, but other people may call it 154, and the name 154 comes from the number of gigs that Wire had played by the time this album had been released. So that's where 154, 154, however you choose to refer to it, that's where the title of the album comes from. So they'd played a lot of gigs in a very short, 154 gigs to me is an awful lot. I know when I was playing in a band that we weren't quite as industrious as that, but yeah, I mean that's really quite something, isn't it, to have played that many gigs, and that would explain why the band was so tight, so economic and precise, and just a very intelligent bunch of people as well. with lyrics that always provoked thought and analysis and examination. Okay, so favourites on here for me, wow, such a good album. I must say as well, yeah, everybody on here, again, is on fire. Colin Numan, the vocals and guitar, Graham Lewis on vocals and bass, Robert Gray on drums, sometimes credited as Robert Gotobed as well, and then Bruce Gilbert, or BC Gilbert, as he's credited here, on guitar and vocals. So I absolutely love, again, side one, track one. I should have known better. Brilliant. That might even be my favourite on the album. That's sung by Graham Lewis, that one. Great song. Definitely check that one out if you don't know it. I also love the 15th on Returning, which closes side one. It's absolutely brilliant as well. A Mutual Friend on side two. Wow, this is so good. Once Is Enough. We do get on here as well Map Ref 41 degrees north, 93 degrees west, which is superb. Title's a bit of a mouthful. Brilliant song though, do listen to that. That's a Colin Numan and Graham Lewis composition, and that was covered by My Bloody Valentine, that one, for anyone who's interested to know that. They did a really good cover of that. I rediscovered that one recently. 40 versions to close as well is superb. So if you're a big post-punk fan, and if you are, chances are you're already acutely aware of this group and of this album, but just on the off chance maybe you're still just getting into post-punk, then I would definitely suggest that you check out 154 by Wire. It's an essential album in its genre, a masterclass in songwriting. The songs on here, I would say, meander a little bit more, but in a positive way, perhaps, than they do, certainly on Pink Flag, and maybe a little bit more so than on Chairs Missing. But yeah, this is just a really compelling listen. If you want something a bit different, something that's going to stretch you, as I feel a number of these albums do in this 15, but this one in particular, then please do give 154 a go and let me know how you get on with it. Right, okay, so now we are going over to Northern Ireland for my next pick. It may be one that you're thinking of, it might not be. I had a really tough decisions, to make editorially with what I was leaving out. I say editorially because, I'm a journalist by trade, so, and it's not exactly editorial, is it? But you know what I mean. I had to exercise judgment anyway as to what was going to, make the cut and what wasn't. So this one had to be in. It's just songwriting perfection. It's power poppy, it's punky, very Ramones indebted, which is always a great thing. Again, an album that just makes me smile. It's there and then it's gone. It's very fleeting, but it's just an absolute joy, blasting away on the speakers for its duration. So coming up next, we have got the lovely album, The Undertones by The Undertones. So this is a Portuguese pressing that I have, and it does have alternate artwork. So this is the artwork that I am familiar with. Of course, this is by copy. Had it for some time now, but I do know that there is another version of it where I think it's an outline of Northern Ireland, I believe. I've never actually seen, it's like a map. I've never actually seen it anywhere, out and about. I don't know if it's due to it being particularly scarce or whether just because everybody who bought it has never parted with it, which I would completely understand and get because it's such a great album. But I really do love this artwork. I think that's a great photograph there of the band on the back. Got Fergal Sharkey there, the lead singer, looking very cool in particular. Love that leather jacket. So yeah, these songs, it's just songwriting par excellence. It really is. I mean, you can see from the hype sticker there, we've got the iconic Teenage Kicks, which was John Peel's favourite song of all time, and Jimmy Jimmy's None Too Shabby Either. Brilliant. But some of my favourites on here, let's have a look. These are all crackers. I mean, if you want pop punk, in the vein, like I said, Ramones, if you're into Buzzcocks, that sort of stuff, you've got to check this. You've got to check the Undertones out. So yeah, Teenage Kicks and Jimmy Jimmy are both essential. True Confessions is wonderful as well. Get Over You, which kicks off side two, is just a rush, just a sugary, poppy confection. Just love it, brilliant, very Ramonesy. Love that one. Here Comes the Summer, legendary, love it. And of course, How could I forget? I've got to mention Male Model. That might even be my favourite track on the album. Male Model is superb. Great snarly guitar on that one. Just, you know, there is a bit of edge to it in places, but overall, if you're just looking for something really, really fun, smooth, catchy as hell, just great playing throughout. Yeah, it's making me smile just thinking about how good it is. So yeah, please do check out the Undertones by the Undertones. You're not going to go wrong with that one. Really lovely album, and very pleased to have that one in my collection. So might be interesting there if people have never seen that pressing or with that artwork, but that's the one that I've got. Okay, so now we're heading over to a person here who I feel pioneered music in the sense that he borrowed and took cues from Kraftwerk, who are absolutely, without any question, pioneers of music. Really, I mean, building their own instruments, ushering in, you know, into the world on a commercial, you know, on a breakthrough scale, synth music, and doing it in a way where it just spread out all over the place and attracted fans from way further afield than Germany, where the roots were, where they started. So this is a person who I know has gone on to influence so many different genres, whether it's, you know, the new romantics, new wave, industrial music, synth pop, metal. I mean, this guy's reach is vast. So many people cite this man as an influence, and I can totally see why. My theory about him before I show him off is that he is to the synth when it comes to riffs that I would say somebody like Jimmy Page is, or Richie Blackmore is to the guitar. The riffs that this person can compose, the quality of them, the memorability of them, the way that they just hit home with so much precision and focus is just quite extraordinary. You know, he really does put these really melodic sensibilities, applies it to the synth, but there's a real power there as well, like a real sense of strength again, and just a way of immediately sucking you into whatever song by him that you're listening to. So yeah, this is a person who I just find his work to be really startling. Continuing to discover him in many ways, although it's kind of silly to mention that because I've known his music for decades, but I still feel like I'm on a journey with that artist, with this artist, if that makes any sense at all. It does to me in my head, but I just know that I'm going to continue to be listening to this person for a very long time indeed. So without any further ado, I'm talking about Gary Numan and this album, The Pleasure Principle. So yeah, he's an absolute riff meister, he really is, when it comes to, you know, he is a guitarist, it's how he started out, but, you know, how he transferred it over to synth work as well, keyboards, just brilliant. And this is such a great album, truly is. Got Paul Gardner here on bass as well, Christopher Payne on keyboards and viola, and then we've got Cedric Sharpley credited here on drums and percussion. And yeah, every track, it's, as you can see from Numan's sort of alien presentation, you know, maybe I would say, or quite fairly influenced by Bowie in that regard. I think he was maybe seen as being not a successor to Bowie, because Bowie was still very much, you know, alive and kicking and doing wonderful things at this period, and he would continue to do so. This was the year, I believe, that he'd released Lodger. So just to be clear, you know, spoiler ahead, Lodger did not make it into my top 15, but it's a great album. So yeah, let's focus on Gary. So yeah, this is futuristic. It's got, you know, great influences creeping into it. You know, it's very sort of the likes of J.G. Ballard and Philip K. Dick, that type of thing. So, you know, he's taking his cues from his own literary heroes, I would say, and then he's dovetailing it there with his musical influences as well, which is certainly, I would say, Kraftwerk, Bowie, that type of thing. So yeah, I mean, I have to mention it straight away. The best track on the album is Cars. That is one of the greatest songs ever written for me. Massive hit. Huge hit, number one. Great song. It's got the best tambourine playing in it in a song ever. And I've seen him performing this live with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and he can really shake a tambourine. You know, when he's playing alongside Gary doing Cars. It's just, again, it's just a brilliant riff. It just gets you straight away. So memorable. Once heard, it's never ever going to leave you. It's been used on countless commercials, you know, films, you name it. Cars is just there. It's part of the cultural zeitgeist, isn't it, really, that one? We've got Emmy on here as well, which I love, which I believe stands for mechanical engineering. So there's very much an engineering sort of theme going throughout the album. Got a track called Engineers on here as well. Complex is fantastic. Airplane, Observer, not a bad track on it. Pleasure Principle, Gary Numan. Cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to apologise as well if anyone can hear my tummy rumbling a little bit today. It must have been all the effort and hard work I put into creating this top 15. It's left me a bit hungry, so I hope the microphone's not picking it up. But I thought it best to mention it because I'm aware of it. But I'm going to power through, and then I'll treat myself to something sweet when I get to the end. So there we go. Lovely end of there as well with the band members' lyrics. There you can see. But yeah, if you're new to Gary Numan, check out Cars, please do. But you're not going to go wrong with the rest of it either. That is an absolutely outstanding record, that one. Again, wouldn't be surprised if it's many people's number one, but it had to be in for the 15, so that's where it gets in. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, a bit of a theme here again. Got another group here who, the likes of, talked about Wire, Stranglers, another group that continue to develop very, very quickly, brimming with ideas, and working here with the producer who was perfect for them and for what they were trying to accomplish. I feel that their masterpiece with this producer was still to come, but this is a truly, truly remarkable album as well. So art students coming out of New York City, I think they were all art students anyway, art school. We've got the Talking Heads with Fear of Music, with that lovely sort of corrugated look there, feel to the record, textured sleeve. So yeah, producer I'm talking about, of course, is Brian Eno, who Talking Heads work with on this album. This is absolutely fantastic, truly, truly brilliant all the way through. This again is a representation of a band that just had so much, should we say, not just so much talent, which clearly, is evident that they did. Had a lot of talent, every band member just excelling at what they do, but just a lot of vitality, a lot of precision, focus, again, energy, just almost a band who's, again, like Wire, particularly, probably even more than Stranglers, who just couldn't even keep up to a sense with how quickly they were developing. Sort of like somebody who goes from crawling 1 minute to sprinting the next, and just kind of working out how did that even happen, but it's just there, and then going with that flow, and then trying to maintain that momentum as well. So yeah, this is a really special album, this one. It takes in influences from all over the shop. I feel like there's a real sort of, I mean, it is a new wave record for me in its roots, but there's post-punk in here, there's world music influences coming into it as well. Zimbra is just absolutely wonderful. Love that song, love the feel of it, really, really do. But my absolute favourite on here is Heaven. That song, I just love Heaven so much. It might even, yeah, I think I'm going to say it's in my top 3 favourite ever Talking Heads songs. Heaven, beautiful. Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens. Great song. Truly great song. Please check that one out from here if you don't know it. Memories Can't Wait is lovely as well. Yeah, I mean, the songwriting here throughout David Byrne is on another level, but, the contributions of Chris France, Tina Weymouth, Jerry Harrison as well. Stunning work. And of course, it's got Eno's DNA's fingerprints all over it there as well, with his incredible production techniques and the artistry that he brings into the mix. So yeah, a lovely combination. Life Before Wartime is a Talking Heads classic. There are some truly, truly great songs of theirs on here. Electric Guitar, Animals, brilliant. Honestly, such a good album. Starts off very, very strongly there with Air as well. Ah, yes, so, yeah, I'd already corrected myself there, yeah. It's not, is it? Air is, yeah, side two. Beg your pardon, yeah. It starts off, Eisenberg's the opener at side one, and then Air side two. That's correct, yeah. Yeah. Do you like to correct things as I'm going along sometimes when I start getting giddy and my mind runs off with me? I was going off there, the order in the lyrics there, and it threw me, I have to remember now. As soon as I said it, I thought, no, it doesn't open up with that. So there we go. Lovely album, very, very enjoyable indeed. And for anybody who is maybe thinking to discover it or is, just going to dip the toe in with Talking Heads, maybe Talking Heads are a new group to you completely, then Fear of Music, I think it's one of their essentials. Obviously, you have Remaining Light coming up, and obviously, well, by this stage as well, they'd had more songs about buildings and food. They'd had Talking Heads 77. So you've got a lot of really great albums of theirs to go at. Speaking in Tongues, great album. So yeah, I'm a big Talking Heads fan, but that one in particular is superb. It's only as low as it is just because of the quality around it. But I think getting in the top 15 from my own collection was was great for it because it had to be in there. It is so good, and it is making me feel like I want to play it again, which I know all of these will do. Okay, so gave a rather lengthy, rambly introduction to this person a little earlier. Apologies for that, but I just speak in the moment and just let it all out. So I don't need to talk about him all again. But all I will say is that this is this artist appearing with his band that he'd been in. So in the space of a year, he'd released this wonderful album with his band, and then he'd gone solo and released the album that I showed before. So he did that within the space of the same year. So this album here, which I do put higher than the Pleasure Principle, I have got Replicas by Tubeway Army. So there's Gary Numan there again with his shock of blonde hair. Great artwork there, and this whole park theme that permeates throughout, pervades within the album, within the sort of the feel of it, and that's kind of more apparent in the lyrics. Obviously, you got the song on here. Got the song on here, Down in the Park, which is a great song. I love all the tracks on this one though. Again, really do. We got a great photo of Gary here as well. Such a great photo there. I've always thought on that photo in particular. He came up after Gary, but Steve Severin from Susie and the Banshees. So whenever I see that photograph, I do always think I have to do a bit of a double take and think, oh yeah, it looks a lot like Steve Severin. And I used to get that quite a lot sometimes. Completely off topic here, with Nick Rhodes as well from Duran Duran and David Sylvian from Japan. Sometimes I get them two mixed up. They looked very similar as well. But I would say that Sylvian has the edge just in terms of just how elegant and just the way he could certainly strike a pose in a photograph. But yeah, very similar looking. But yeah, definitely a Severin look there with Gary Numan. So got Paul Gardner again here on bass. Got Jess Lydiard on drums, and then we've got Gary on vocals, keyboards, and guitar. So I think the reason why maybe I prefer this one a little more to Pleasure Principle is I just feel that there's more of a guitar element to Replicas, and that is no more apparent on the absolutely classic Our Friends Electric. What a song that is. The riff on that, as I mentioned before, it is an absolute storming riff. I love it. I love the whole composition of it. I would happily listen to a version of that went on for 20-30 minutes. It's that good. Just the way that it ascends throughout, the way that it drops back down. It's just a brilliant piece of songwriting. And then the guitar underneath it, which sounds really quite heavy and quite brutal, is excellent. That might be where more of the industrial and metalers take their influence from Gary, because he certainly knew how to put a heavy guitar line down. Me, I Disconnect From You, which opens the album, has an excellent riff kicking things off as well. Sticks in your head, almost like a bit of a Twilight Zone-y, spooky sort of a vibe to that riff. Praying to the Aliens is brilliant. Replicas, the title track, I love a lot as well. When the Machines Rock, you were in my vision. Yeah, what a strong album that is all the way through. That's putting it lightly. and everything about it, from the artwork all the way through. I think just the whole concept there, Tubeway Army, just to pull that off the way that everybody involved did is really quite something. And then to have this piece of work and Pleasure Principle within the same year, that's remarkable in my book. So there we go, Tubeway Army with Replicas. Okay, so yeah, doing okay for time. So I always say this at this point. I mean, I'm not even close to the top five, I don't think yet. Oh no, maybe I am actually. But at this point in proceedings, because I do waffle, I just want to thank you for sticking with me. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, you can see, that my passion for music is well and truly there, and that I just love talking about stuff when it comes to music. And hopefully, anything I'm showing you that will inspire you to go and listen for yourself or rediscover an old favourite that maybe you've neglected for a while, then that would be music to my ears. So really, really appreciate you all being here, and I hope you're enjoying what I've shown so far. Okay, so let me just check how many we have got left. So one, two. We've got seven left, yeah. So we've got two more to show, and then we'll be getting into that hallowed top five. Okay, so this group here, this is my favourite album by this band. I love it to bits. Again, how many times have I mentioned that? But I do. Love every track. Love the mixture of sounds on it. There's elements of it that are punk. There's, power pop on here. Again, people who know me by now, they know I love a good bit of power pop. Like sort of 60s garage influences in places on it as well. It's just powerful. It rushes along. Similar in that regard, maybe to the Undertones, album, but this one I'd say has got the edge over that. I just think this one's got a bit more, not nastiness to it, I don't think, but it's maybe just got something just a little bit more in its execution and delivery, which for me gave it an edge over the Undertones. Maybe the Undertones feels a little bit poppier to me, and this one feels a little bit rockier. So coming up now to show you, I have got Machine Gun Etiquette by The Damned. Love that artwork. Love it. Brilliant that. So good. I mean, what is Captain Sensible wearing there at all? I mean, that is uber distinctive in the very best possible way. What a motley crew they were. You've got Dave Vaney in here who looks like, he's just stepped out of, I don't know, playing with some, well, I mean, at this time, like, we were yet to get the Cramps and, the psychobilly stuff coming up, but yeah, he sort of looks, he's very much in place but out of place at the same time. But that's what I've always loved about The Damned. They're like this sort of collective of, different sort of visual styles and things like that, but it just works. It really does. And as a band, they're so powerful. Rat Scabies drumming, just unbelievably good all the way through. But yeah, this one is a real rush of a record. It really is. Yeah, I've got the original. Got the original in there. I'll just show you that. It's a little bit damaged there at the bottom, but hopefully you can see those pictures. That is an excellent picture of Dave Vaney in there as well. Really cool. Yeah. I've got algae there, yeah. Yeah. Captain Sensible, as I've mentioned there. Rat Scabies. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And then we've got that there on the back as well. Hopefully you can see all that. Little comic strip there. Right, favourites. Well, I love Noise, Noise, Noise. Love it. But my favourite song on here, it's in two parts. Smash It Up Part 1, Smash It Up. I think part 1, before it kicks into gear, that beautiful guitar extended bit, I think that might have been written in tribute to Mark Bolan. Or there is some connection to Mark Bolan. Again, I am talking purely off the top of my head there, but I do think there is something, and I have been wrong when I've done this before, but I'll always, put my hands up and admit when I've done it. I think it's something to do with Mark Bolan, Smash It Up Part 1. But that is just a great song. Starts off with this beautiful arpeggiated guitar line, and then it goes into a very power poppy song within Smash It Up itself. Liar is superb. Plan 9 Channel 7, with that Ed Wood reference there. That's kind of like a very sort of sci-fi sort of influenced track. I mean, not dissimilar to B-52s, I suppose, in that way. Different but the same in some ways. Looking at You is great as well. Anti-Pope on side one was one that I'm sure back in the day really drew attention. But great composition, Melody Lee. But I do have to mention the opening three songs on here are just head spinningly good and gets you right in the vibe for the record. Love Song, Machine Gun Etiquette, I Just Can't Be Happy Today are all essential. Damned, brilliant, really good, really fine, strong album. Definitely my favourite Damned album, and I'm a big fan of them. I love the debut Damned, the Black Album. Strawberries is absolutely fantastic as well from '82, but that is for me the Damned at their most focused, and songwriting excellence is, it's just really quite something. So please do check out The Damned. Let me know how you get on with it. Okay. Wow, I'm just looking at these left here. I mean, I think what I've shown so far has been pretty good, but wow, these are just, unbelievable. Right, let's move on. Produced by Elvis Costello, this one. You'll know from a title card, my choice of album sleeve for the title card, what's coming up next. Two-tone, wonderful band, socially conscious lyrics, just a great fusion of ska, punk, new wave. One of the coolest frontmen ever in Terry Hall. Yeah, what a band, what an album. We have got The Specials by Specials. There we go. Love the front cover. I love the back cover. There we go. They just look like the coolest gang in town to me. They really do. Hailing from Coventry. Just a plain inner sleeve on my cover. I don't even think with this one I'm even going to pick a few favourites. I'm just not, and I might I might do that with the rest of them. The only reason a lot of time I do it is because I always try and think of people that might not know the albums as well. I don't always assume that everybody watching. I mean, why would I do that? That everybody knows these albums, because people don't always know them. But with this one, just all of them. Check any of those out. They're all there listed. Some of them may look familiar, some of them more than others, but they are all worthy of listening to. That they're all just superb. And what I love is how they all flow as well. The sequencing of this record is just outstanding. It really is. It's such an important album, that, and I think it just captures a moment in time, certainly within the UK. 1979. With Margaret Thatcher coming into government in our country, and what followed with that, and just the way in which society in general, the economic landscape, so many other things going on there for them to be getting into. These are lyrically, they are stories. I'm just thinking about, a song like Nightclub. I mean, the lyrics throughout are just astonishingly good. Too much too young as well, about, the responsibilities of literally doing, making choices within your life that you're younger, that then you go on to live, and you're thinking, well, other people are out having fun doing stuff at my age that, I'm no longer in a position to do, which is, I'm sure, a tale that most of us have either experienced or we know people that have. So yeah, the lyrics throughout this thing are outstanding. And, if you're into your two-tone ska, punk, new wave, that sort of thing, you're not going to go wrong with that. Just a great mixture of vocal stylings on here as well, courtesy of Terry Neville. And yeah, Terry and Neville are handling vocals all the way through on this one, I think. Yeah, Linville's on, Gold is on guitar, yeah. Jerry Dammers, of course, organ. Brilliant playing throughout. What a band they were. So good. But yeah, listen to everything on that one. Please do. Don't think I'm going to probably get away with just not mentioning any faves anymore, am I? Because it wouldn't be in keeping with me, really, would it? But I just think for that one, just because of just how important it is, how good it is throughout, I mean, I'd recommend you listen to all these albums in full. That's why I've chosen them. But sometimes songs in isolation just don't do them justice. But please check out Specials by Specials. It's an awesome, awesome album. Okay, right. So are we top five? Making sure. Yes, we are. Right. So we're into the top five now. Wow. Okay. So yeah, this band are just so special. Swindon's finest. You know immediately who I'm talking about, so I'll get on with it. We've got Drums and Wires by XTC. What an album! It's only at number five as well, but yeah, this is just ridiculously good. So if you're into your more sort of herky jerky, new wavy, power poppy, post punky stuff, a nice general, not at all detailed or specific description there from me. Probably not very helpful, but that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's just great songwriting. You might vibe with this actually if if you're listening to the likes of like the B-52s or something. Again, I'm not saying they sound like that, but there is probably some crossover in terms of fans. There's definitely like a vibe to it that just feels a little bit, if I dare say it, a little bit kind of nerdy, a bit sort of otherworldly, a bit, something just off the beaten track. Very, very quirky, certainly, but the songwriting throughout on this is just superb. The drumming, the playing on it by Terry Chambers is just ridiculously good. None more so again on the song "Making Plans for Nigel," which is the song that go on. I'll do it. I'll say it. Listen to Nightclub off Specials. There you go. I've cracked Nightclub off the Specials. Please listen to that over anything else because I do love that one. But they're all winners. Listen to Making Plans for Nigel on this one if you don't already know it, with its sort of backwards sounding drumming parts on it that's ultra complicated, and a bit of a bit of a miracle in its playing that one. I mean, I'm not a drummer, but I know plenty of drummers, and yeah, I mean that is an amazing piece of percussion, that one, putting it mildly. Reel by Reel is one that I've always loved as well. 10 Feet Tall is a great pop song. So yeah, you've got a mixture here of great songs by both Colin Moulding, who plays bass and sings, and Andy Partridge, who plays guitar and sings as well. So XTC, for those who may not know, it was the case when Andy wrote a song, he would sing it. When Colin wrote a song, he would sing it. So Making Plans for Nigel is a Colin song. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. But there is just a lovely kind of, almost like a bit of a tennis match going on with the songs here, in terms of, right, Andy, Colin writes a cracker, bats, volleys it over to Andy, and then he responds in that way throughout. In some senses, great stuff. Two songwriters just clearly at the peak and doing very well. And for a lot of people, this might not even be XTC's best album. It's certainly up there for me. It's in the top three for sure, because they will continue to develop their sound over their career. Certainly when they became a solely studio-based outfit. So yeah, what else do I love on here as well? I mean, I've mentioned a few. Complicated Game, yeah, that's brilliant at the end as well. Helicopter, yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, just great all the way through, honestly. I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end of 79, but Drums and Wires XTC, number five. Great album, great band. Please do become a fan of XTC if you're not already, because they have got so much going on in their discography. They're just an absolute gem of a group. Can't speak highly enough of them. One of the UK's greatest ever for me. Okay, number four. So we are moving away now from XTC and the like. This one here is a very politically charged album, very left leaning, both in its concept, the band's name, far left in that regard. Hailing from Leeds, I think they had a communist sort of vibe going through. Again, with their choice of lyrical subjects and the way in which they presented themselves on stage as well. Quite minimalist in that way. Their playing is very precise. militaristic drumming, I would say, there as well. But most importantly, although there is a precision to the guitar work, very angular, distorted in places, it is also very, very, very funky and very, very danceable. Courtesy, I would say, of the bass work, the drum bass work of Hugo Burnham and Dave Allen. So it's music you can dance to. Certainly went on to influence bands that were around when I was a teenager, late teenager, bands like The Rapture, groups like that, sort of dance indie, dance rock, funk rock, whatever you want to call it. But this is a truly, truly astonishing album, which is why it's at number 4. We have got Entertainment by Gang of Four. Really, really great album. Honestly, really good. Superb. And the lyrics for me have always had me, just, okay, really, really thought-provoking. A lot to say for itself in a very short space of time. It's a debut album, so it's very assured, it's confident. The playing throughout is just so tight. I mean, my word, it's tight. I would have loved to have seen them live at this stage in their career. Would have loved to have seen them. Andy Gill on that guitar, just slashing away, so powerful, really, really nasty sound to it. Like, it's like a knife, just how it cuts through. But that just adds to the sheer brilliance of the record. Then you've got John King, who I actually think's got a really pleasant voice. It's like a kind of a singy, speaky voice, but it's a nice voice on the ear, actually, I think. But what he's talking about really does hit home. So yeah, great album all the way through. Few favourites. I found that Essence Rare, which is side 2, track 1, is my favourite Gang of Four song. That is just an unbelievably good song. Show you the inside as well, so don't forget. There we go. I found that Essence Rare is just how it should be done in terms of its songwriting. It's of its time, but it sounds brilliant. Great little bass breakdown section in there as well. The drumming throughout, again, is superb. Great guitar work, great lyrics. I found that Essence Rare, it's what I looked for. I knew I'd get what I asked for. Just brilliant. Anthrax is a great closer to the album. At Home is the Tourist is brilliant. Damaged Goods, wow, what a song that is on side 1. Natural's not in it. It's got a great propulsive bass sound to it. I mean, the bass playing throughout, as I said, is propulsive, along with that drum work by Burnham is just superb. Ether as well to start, or Return the Gift. Jeez, it's so good. Contract, Glass. I think I've just said the whole lot pretty much. 545 as well. Gang of Four, number 4. Please check it out. Let me know what you think of it. How highly do you rate it? Wonderful. And not even number 1, that one. Amazing, well, for me anyway, but wonderful album. Okay, so we're getting to number 3 then. We are moving along. We're getting there, everybody. If you're still in here with this marathon, thank you. Thank you so much. So this one here is a slightly altered version of its original release, which would be a big clue for people that know 79 inside out and back to front. So my version here is not, I wish it was, it's not the metal box. It's not the canister. Boy, would I love to have a copy of Metal Box. So I'll just show it because I've just said what it is. But at number 3, we have got Second Edition, which is the name that was given to this pressing of the record. And it is, of course, by Public Image Limited. And were it not for another album that is above it, this would be my favourite ever post-punk album. It really, really would. This thing is an absolute mammoth. This is one of those where I don't listen to it often. I have to be in the mood for it, which I know a lot of people listening to me will understand exactly what I mean by that. But that doesn't mean that, its quality is diminished or I don't rate it over other albums, because as I've just said, it would be my favourite ever post-punk album if there wasn't another album that existed. That's how highly I rate it. And the only reason why it's not in the top 2 is just because of another album that trumps it from another genre, or from other genres, I should say. So we've got Leiden and Wobble there, Jar Wobble, John Lydon in the middle on the gatefold. Got the absolutely brilliant Keith Levine there on the front. Brilliant guitar player, amazing guitar player, amongst other things as well. So I'll just pop the records away and then we will get into the business of discussing the album a little bit. So yeah, so it initially came out as Metal Box, as I mentioned, with it being in a metal box. And the songs throughout are bleak, angry, pressing, powerful, thought-provoking, beautiful in places with a gorgeous instrumental Radio 4. It's a very, very despairing album in that way, but like I mentioned, when I'm in the mood for it, it just blows my mind how good it is. The way it sounds, the way it's played, production on it. Yeah, it's a very, 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 very distinctive record. Truly, truly a bit of a one-off, this one. So yeah, I've got my tracks labels there. I've all got Pill on. So I was gonna look for a track listing to help me out in the moment. So I've mentioned Radio 4, haven't I? So yeah, so I love Pop Tones. It's brilliant. Swan Lake. Gosh, yeah, Swan Lake. That's crazy. That's so good. Bass work on that by Wobble is that one does that's another ribcage rattler. I think I've used that description before, but yeah, this is just a really, really powerful album, this one. And Swan Lake in particular, you can dance to it and vibe to it, but the whole thing is like high. I'm going to say, yeah, it's high art. I would say you've just got to really, really immerse yourself in this one when you're listening to it. Second edition, truly, truly, truly superb album. I love it to bits. I've not played it in a long, long time. I'll be dead honest, because as I mentioned, I've got to be in the mood for it. It's a big, long album as well. It's a double album, but as and when I'm ready for it the next time, I'm going to be sticking that on, because it's high time that I play it. But I love it and respect it enough and know it enough, because I've had it for years. I had it on CD as well, in the little tin. When it was on CD, I had a little tin with a little foam piece, to protect the CD inside it, like a grey foam. It was like a little tin with pill on the front. I know it well enough to know that it had to be my number 3, because it is just an astonishing album, but very, very bleak as well. So do be prepared for that when you do check it out. Okay, but yeah, give Swan Lake a listen if you don't know that one. That's a fusion of classical and dub and punk and you name it. There's a lot going into the melting pot on that track alone. And Lydon throughout, by the way, sounds incredible. It's got some of his most leading and truly, truly, gut wrenching vocals on here as well. Amazing, great album. Can't speak enough of it. But I will move on, because I've got 2 more albums ahead of it, and I know that I've been running on for a while now, even by my standards. So number 2, another double album. This is a record that genre hops as brilliantly as any album that I can think of. Really, this one takes in rockabilly, punk, dub, reggae, just straight up popping places. So yeah, I suppose always with a bit of an edge, but post punk in there as well. Just straight up rock and roll. Yeah, the whole shebang really. I mean, if you're looking for guitar music greatness that's covering a lot of different areas, then you're not going to go far wrong. And again, if the people have this at number 1, I mean, this for a lot of people could even be, it's just their favourite album of all time. But you can say that about any of them, can't you, really? But number 2 for me, 1979, we have got London Calling by The Clash. London Calling at number 2. Great, great, great album. Ridiculously good. Like, so good. Show you the inside. So there it is over the two. All your lyrics in there, photographs. So very, very different to Metal Box or second edition. Yeah, second edition. Check. Oh yeah, first issue is the first album. Second edition. I have to remember the name of that one. Very different sounding, but as two, double albums coming out in '79. Got the Tusk as well was in there, wasn't it? Right down at the beginning. Some brilliant double albums released in '79, and I've not even touched some of the others that could have been in. But I think this is the best of the bunch for the double albums. Consistency is remarkable throughout. The songwriting is remarkable. Didn't even put Train in Vain on the back of the list on the track listing here, but Train in Vain is arguably the best song on the whole thing, and I've got a lot of love for that song in particular because I am going to get them in. My favourite band of all time, Manic Street Preachers. They are hugely influenced by The Clash. I know that Mick Jones in particular is a guitar hero of my guitar hero, James Dean Bradfield, and I have got very fond memories of listening to them covering Train in Vain as one of their B-sides back in the day. And I've watched the Manics many times in my life. I'm very pleased to say I've even caught them on occasion doing a very lovely cover of Clampdown as well, which appears on this record on side 2, track 4. You got the Guns of Brixton on here, which features my favourite ever bass playing by Paul Simonon. The title track, track 1, side 1, is one of the best track 1, side 1s in history, London Calling. If you don't know that one, please listen to it. Then we get a complete shake-up in sound with Brand New Cadillac, which is brilliant as well. Wrong and Boyo is awesome. The Card Cheat, Lost in the Supermarket, brilliant. Mick Jones singing that one, excellent song. Spanish Bombs, Four Horsemen. Honestly, just listen to the whole thing again with that one. Please do. Go for it. All 4 members there are on fire. Sometimes words just don't do things justice, and I do try with my words, but sometimes you just have to go and listen to the thing. It's one of those albums that is frequently, 1,001 albums before you die, and top this, top that. Well, that's because it is that good. This is an album, as well as the number one I'm just going to show you. These are albums that do completely justify their reputation, their status. They're number ones and poll toppers for a reason, because they are that good. And these are albums that tend to cross over to many different types of music fan as well. Sometimes there's just albums that just make people from all different appreciations just stop and think, yeah, that is just a stunning achievement. And London Calling by The Clash is certainly that, right down to that uber iconic artwork as well. That's Paul Simonon there, smashing his guitar up. I mean, how famous is that image now? Eh? Amazing. Right. Okay. So I'm going to move on. Number 2, London Calling. Awesome. Essential for anyone's vinyl collection, in my opinion, that one. Especially if you're into your guitar music. Strummer, Jones, Simonon, top of Hedden, Eden Hedden. I always get them mixed up. If it's Eden or Hedden, I always say Hedden. Brilliant drummer, awesome drummer. Completely just boosted the Clash when their sound when he joined the ranks. He did. Awesome drummer, brilliant throughout. Great stuff. Right then, so number 1. Where do we even start here? I think the reason I'm probably getting a bit lost for words as these have gone on, probably from number 5 onwards, Drums and Wires, is just because of the sheer scope and scale of the task at hand. It's a bit. I don't want to say it's been exhausting. I mean, that'd be ridiculous to say, wouldn't it? I've not gone out and done a 14-hour shift or something, but working somewhere. But I just feel that sometimes when you're trying to distill or comment on something that you just feel in your heart, and you can't always find the words to explain why you love something as much as you do, you can sometimes be at a loss for words, which for anyone who knows me, certainly very close friends and family, would find that a miracle. But there you go, can happen to all of us. So I will try with this one to say what I feel about it, but it goes without saying that it's an essential record. It's my it's just it's an album that isn't even for me now just about the music. It also holds a very personal connection for me as well, for reasons I won't go into on here. But for people that know me, this album is very special because of the connection it has to someone that I knew, and was absolutely honoured and delighted, and it was a privilege and a pleasure that he was someone, best friends. So yeah, there you go. I ended up talking about it, didn't I? So yeah, this album is very 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 amazing, and whenever I listen to it, I just remain astonished by its production, which is still cutting edge all these years later. The sound of the group, the ideas that they had, the age that they were at when they had them, just startling. So at number one, got Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division. That's my number one for 1979. Yeah, what an album! What an album! If you don't know this album, I'm sure you know it by reputation. You've read about it, you've seen it, you've seen this design, Pete Saville. It's a data set, I think, from it's a Radio Pulsar. You've seen that on t-shirts, I'm sure. You've seen it on bags, no doubt. Oven gloves, maybe. Just trying to lighten the mood for myself, and after getting a bit emotional there before, thinking about my best friend. Yeah, you've seen it on tea towels and all kinds, I'm sure. And yeah, iconic image, courtesy of Pete Saville, Factory Records, produced by their in-house producer Martin Hannett, who was just an absolute, he was a genius. Recorded at Strawberry in Stockport, local area to the band. Strawberry, of course, being owned and operated recordings there by another band that I adore, 10cc. Very different to Joy Division. Let's just say that. But yeah, Unknown Pleasures had to be number one for a myriad of reasons. Musically, personally, everything. But London Calling did give it a very, very, very good run. Just, it was a close run thing, just because of how wonderful that album is as well. Yeah. So from the first note to the last with this one, it's very, very, very special. I know people who've told me their lives have been changed from listening to it. No exaggeration for those people that I know or have known. It was just something that came into their life and it just changed everything, shook everything up. So if anybody had that experience of feeling with this record and they're, prepared to share it, then please do. No, obviously no pressure to do so. But these are songs that just hit on a molecular level, whether it's the lyrics of Ian Curtis and that haunting voice that he had for one so young, very doomed voice. And then you're combining it with this amazing musicianship by, Peter Hook on bass, Stephen Morris, the human metronome on drums, percussion, and just the wonderful, fractured, but very, very melodic, beautiful guitar work of Bernard Sumner. So we've got the Outside side, which is side one. Disorder, one of my favourite ever Joy Division songs. Bass playing immediately gets you in. And that very echo reverberating, production style by Hannett. It just envelops you from the first note. And then it just plays through so beautifully. Day of the Lord's Candidate, Insight, New Dawn Fades. New Dawn Fades is just such a perfect closing track to side one. And then we just get this amazing 1-2 punch on the inside side, which is side two of She's Lost Control and Shadow Play. Shadow Play in particular is one that I can really, really vibe to. Get even, it's a danceable one, that one. But She's Lost Control is just so haunting, beautiful song that. Lyrics are incredible. The way that it's played, it's quite dirgy and slow, but in a really, really effective way. Then we get Wilderness Into Zone and I Remember Nothing. And I Remember Nothing is the closing track for this. I think the sequencing of this album is just so perfect. It truly, truly is. It's just an absolutely essential, stunning achievement, this record. Again, I think I mentioned high art before, didn't I? When you mention certain albums, this one is as well. And I don't mean for that to sound pretentious or anything. I think it's just, I think there's albums that you can just say, oh, it's a really good album, that, and or yeah, it's a very, very good album, or well, that's an excellent album. But then there's some that are they're just on another level completely. And again, music is subjective. Could be people watching this now that think this album is, not very good at all or overrated, and that's absolutely fine. If that's your opinion, then we're all justified in our opinion. And I'm very much a believer that nobody is right or wrong when it comes to music. Everybody has the right to love and listen to whatever they want to love and listen to. But for me personally, this is my number one for 1979. I have nothing but the utmost love and respect for it. I always will do. My relationship with the record has changed over the years because of, two very, very dear friends who adored this album are no longer with us. And when I listen to that now, they're in my heart, and they always will be. So I think that is a very, very fitting way for me to finish this record, this video. Beg your pardon. I think it's a very fitting way to conclude this this series, which has been an absolute joy to be able to deliver. And for everybody who has tuned in, for everybody that has given me support along the way, because it's been a long time doing the 70s series. It's been going on since 2024 in 1 week or another. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. I've had people who have been so kind with their comments to me about the work that I've been doing. The albums have shown off, the things I've had to say, the way I've gone about putting my listings together. It really, really has meant so much. The encouragement that I've had has been so lovely. The welcome that I've had from the vinyl community has been wonderful. I've had the pleasure of interacting and becoming fans of other content creators as well. And I've also become a fan of a lot of the people that come into, that comment on this space and tell me about themselves and what music lights them up and are educating me. So I think the reason I'm maybe doing this as like a bit of a conclusion is because I don't know if I'll do any more ranking decades or anything like that within my channel, because I did the 80s, I did the 70s, because I had enough albums in the collection to be able to warrant that. But with my 60s and 90s, things like that, noughties, although I've got, a decent number, not enough to do every year. So I think that's why maybe this one, it feels a little bit more like a bit of an end of an era in some ways. But I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan to. I just need to have a think about what will come next, and in terms of ideas. And I've had some lovely ideas from people already. There will, of course, be my, summary of the 70s, which I did with the 80s, where that one's more just a bit of fun, where I'll have all my number ones of each year for the 70s squaring off against each other. That'll only be like a 10-minute video, if that. I literally just hold them up and show you what order I put them in. That's not a big detailed thing, because I've already gone into the detail within the videos for the year that they came out. So yeah, that's to come, and then after that we'll see where we go. But I just want to finish off by saying now, thank you very, very much for being here again. It's been a long video, I know that. Thank you for sticking with me. And if you did enjoy what I've done today and you are new to the Vinyl Sanctuary, please do consider giving me a like, giving this video a like. Please do consider taking a look at other videos I've created to date. And please do subscribe as well if you enjoyed my work. Click the notification bell, and that will give you, a heads up that I've got something landing, so you don't miss anything moving forward. And if you're up for it and you want to join in, share with me your favourite albums of 1979. I would love to know what you would have. Let me know your reasons why. If you've got any recommendations for me, please share them as well, because I'm always up for that. I'm always keen to keep learning. And until the next time, I will be back with that 70s number one thing soon. I will get to it as soon as I can. But until then, take care, everybody, and bye for now.